And the agenda, the only item on the agenda is to review and approval of the HeatSmart program, the PACE HeatSmart program. So we can make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, and they're expecting us to do that and move forward on the program. So with that, Sonny, you're the lead on this program and project, and it's been all your work so far, which has been great. So go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Bill. I'd just like to introduce for everybody on the call. We also have a guest, Bernie from PACE.
Bernie.
So I thought we could go around the room, introduce ourselves for a quick second, and then we'll get started, if that's all right.
Okay, well, I'm Bill Craddy. I'm the chairman of the Energy Committee. And we want to be very proactive on benefiting not only the town, but also residents. The real chairman of the committee is Kathy, though. She really runs the thing. Kathy, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Kathy Galbus. I'm the recording secretary.
Okay. Hank?
Hi, I'm Hank Carl. I'm a member of the committee.
Hi, Hank.
Stephen?
Hi, Steve Ippolito. How you doing?
Hi, Stephen.
We're all members of the committee here. So
great. I'll quickly introduce myself. I know Sunny and Anisha, so good to see you all. I'm Bernie Pelletier. I'm with PACE, and most of my time I work on the HeatSmart program. Actually, it goes all the way back to 2018 when I think a group of us went over to Bethel at Sunny's sort of instigation. So it's kind of a full circle that we're completing this evening, perhaps.
Thanks, Bernie. And thanks for making it at short notice. So I will just set this up, and then Amisha will actually do the presentation. So very briefly, as part of our previous conversations, we had tried to explore the option of geothermal energy for Bethel, like Bernie mentioned way back in 2018. And Bill and I were chatting about it, and I continued looking at it this year. I've been in touch with a vendor by name Dandelion, which you might have all heard of in this space, as well as in the meantime, Bill had introduced me to Bernie, and Bernie's part of PACE, which we'll get into a little bit more detail later. And the intent here is to educate our town's residents and also bring vendors to the table to then enable residents' participation in geothermal and other forms of heat pumps to essentially drive energy efficiency. And this is Amisha, my daughter, and also a Bethel High School senior, soon to be, like in September. And Amisha is going to be taking this up as her capstone project for the school. And Amisha is also part of the ROTC, and Commander Mark Dwinnells will be her advisor. So we'll get sufficient support from ROTC as well for any outreach program that we will be undertaking. So Amisha has a small presentation here, which we will share, and she'll walk you through what the project is about, a little bit of background and the project plan at a high level, and then open it to Q&A. Yeah, so it's good.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Amisha again. Nice to meet you all.
You can do share screen here at the bottom. Okay. Host disabled, attendee screen sharing, it says. Kathy, could you let us?
Kathy's got the power, I think.
Right, yeah. Let us know when we can share again.
You're now the co-host.
Okay, great. So that is. Okay, I think you can start sharing. You'll have to figure out a way to get that out. Okay.
Okay. So the main thing driving this project will be
Speak up.
the main thing driving this project will be educating the town on the principles of geothermal energy. So geothermal, the way we are promoting it for the town is through the use of is through the installation of heat pumps in people's homes. Heat pumps work because the ground itself has a constant heat of about 50 degrees Fahrenheit at a feet 12 to 40 feet below the Earth's surface. By being able to put heat pumps down into the ground, they can exchange hotter summer air for the cooler temperature of the ground during summer and reject the hot air into the ground. And during winter, it can pull up the hotter temperature from the ground and put it into cooling the house. A comparison of geothermal energy to fossil fuel heating, which is more typically used in homes, shows that geothermal heating is actually in many ways better for the environment and just is the better choice overall. For one, geothermal heating is a sustainable source, unlike fossil fuel heating, which is dependent on finite resources such as natural gas and oil. Along with this, just the production of fossil fuels can produce a lot more carbon dioxide emissions, which are cut down by 75% to 85% just by switching to geothermal heating. Along with this, the labor required for heating homes will be cut down significantly, as the labor of geothermal heating is simply just the installation of the system. Whereas in comparison to fossil fueling, where even after the installation, fuel will still have to be extracted from the earth and refilled into the system consistently for it to continue functioning. With this, though, there are certain downfalls for geothermal heat pumps, which the town and its residents would need to be made aware of, such as the high installation costs. This is important considering our campaign does look at lower income families, so we need to figure out how we can help with this aspect. Along with this, there is the risk of it contaminating the environment, as the heat pumps do involve using antifreeze, which if it leaks out into the groundwater supply or any bodies of water could risk contamination and disrupt environments. Even on very cold days, supplementary energy sources such as a reserved oil heating system will be needed, because the ground temperature of 50 degrees will not be able to heat a house during negative temperatures, or will not be able to heat it enough. It might require changing the landscape, because installing the heat pumps itself need a certain type of landscape. And of course, as is for installation of any new appliances or equipment in a house, older homes are just less suitable for installation of heat pumps. I also apologize if you can hear my cat in the background. She's just
I can just go quickly over this. Yeah.
As for just marketing the heat pumps in general, the cost comparison is shown here. And you can see that ground source heat pumps, such as the one HeatSmart would be campaigning for, are significantly less expensive than most other heating and cooling options, which will be great for campaigning and marketing. The HeatSmart program, the main purpose of it is to educate the residents of Bethel to be able to make an educated decision on whether or not switching to geothermal heating is the right option for them. This will be supported by the PACE program to provide marketing material to give to residents, to find a vendor to help with installation and also help work out costs for residents, provide funding for the marketing, and any other support that we need.
just excellent. Sorry, the wrong window. Sorry about that. This is my work laptop. Yeah, here we are.
So following this is our project plan document with obviously all of our
Sorry, give me a second.
information.
I'm just increasing the size of it here, so it's easy to listen. Yeah,
You
okay.
might have to change you're still showing the Google sheet, the
Oh,
Google.
is that? Oh, okay. I'm gonna stop and then restart. You can bear with me for a second. Okay, that's
You have to hit share screen on the other thing.
right.
This is our project plan. And following this these are all of the steps we would require to complete this campaign. First, obviously, is getting the committee and the town's approval. Second is creating MOUs with Bethel and the
Getting
vendors.
the town's approval. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Then the project kickoff meeting, so we can list in further detail our following steps. Next, we will need a website for residents to be able to refer to for information. There are a few steps following that which can be seen. This I would mainly be handled by me and a few others.
Sorry, our cat has decided to participate. Okay. Sorry about that.
The geothermal cat.
Exactly.
Next, we need to get property details from the town assessor to be able to understand which properties we could target, which we would do as our next step. Then create a marketing budget based off of the amount of properties we could target for, and then get funding for that marketing, and then plan the marketing campaign. A lot of this, which will be door-to-door campaigning, which would involve my ROTC program and cadets going to inform the residents personally. This will be done with the help of my commander, Lieutenant Mark Twinellis from my school. After that, we would also coordinate the vendors on campaign material, which we will be providing to the residents, so they have full knowledge of what they could be signing up for, and they can ask questions to make sure they understand what's occurring. Then we'd have our milestone meeting and then the final report.
So I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah. Let's, what are you asking?
You have to share the screen. You have to share the screen.
Yeah, I know. I'm good.
Skill for the new millennium, huh?
Which one is this? This one, correct? There we are.
So the ask for today is getting committee approval for this campaign as a whole, and also asking for support with the local outreach aspect of it, specifically coordinating with ROTC students for the door-to-door campaigning.
Because you're
That is because as we are still high school students, we cannot go up to doors considering they're strangers on our own. So we will need adults to accompany cadets while doing this part of the campaign.
if that were one of the
If-
tactics.
Thanks,
Thanks, Amisha.
thank you.
So that was her presentation. I'm going to stop sharing. And so I thought we could open it for Q&A. Hello, Fern.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Could I add a couple things to Amisha's wonderful presentation? Well, first, I have to say, I've never seen anyone in high school have this level of understanding of this technology and this level of community engagement. So congratulations, and I'm glad to see we have the military on our side as well. That's also unique. I would like to recommend that we add 2 vendors. So having Dandelion Energy already lined up is just a magnificent place to start.
Right.
The other two vendors that or capabilities I think would make sense to add would be a home energy solutions vendor, which would be have the folks on this committee had a HES audit? Are you familiar with that Energize CT program?
Yeah, we ran the a solar program several years ago where there was the type there that one of the requirements of the solar is to get an energy audit of the house by the group. So this, I'd imagine, is the same type. Yeah,
it's sort of the same thing, and there's Amisha had contacted me a little while ago, and I couldn't respond quickly enough, but I've done some research. So if we get those, it would offer the residents that you haven't already touched, and I'm going to guess that probably 80% of Bethel is still not been examined by a HES audit. It gives the residents a chance to take advantage of that program. It's very inexpensive, and it prepares the house and the vendors for how good the building shell is. So whether it be an air source heat pump or a geothermal, you don't, as Amisha said in her presentation, you don't want to have a heat pump in a leaky building. It's not a good combination. So having that partner there, the HES partner, really would speak to the, call it the thermal barrier of the residents. So that's partner number one. And as you saw on Amisha's cost comparison, air source heat pumps are not as efficient as geothermal because, as you said, the geothermal is drawing from a reservoir of 50 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas air source is drawing from whatever the ambient air temperature is. However, modern air source heat pumps are effective in our climate zone, less expensive and more versatile in a lot of settings. So what we would recommend is that Dandelion Energy would be sort of the cornerstone or the anchor tenant of this program. We get a HES auditor to be a partner, and that we have an air source heat pump. These things take a little bit of recruiting time, simply because I'm going to say these three words. COVID, that's one of the words, and then supply chain is the other thing. Right now, everybody, I'm going to guess even Dandelion, is a little bit slowed down because of COVID and because of the attendant supply chain. So, but if we get those two partners on board, I think it would be a very complete program. It would offer a range of services to your residents. I think I spoke with Shannon today. She sort of understands where we're coming from because, Amisha, as you said, it's geothermal is better but more expensive, but there is a range of services, sort of less money that we could offer with air source heat pumps as well. So
I think that important thing is one of the primary drivers. The town of Bethel is creating a sustainability commission, which our group's going to be folded into. So this project is of great interest to Matt Knickerbocker from the standpoint that it begins to tie the sustainability and energy efficiency together, which it should be. So it's very important from there. Air source heat pumps can be effective up here. I think one of the things we would want to look at, and particularly the energy entity the partner could help do that, is compare life cycle costs, because life cycle costing is important, when you consider a difference in installation cost and efficiency cost. And so, we have the tools to do that would be very effective in being able to communicate. And then also, I think the efficiency partner in the past, they have participated in terms of financial support from the standpoint that they reach out to residents, and they may be a good source of the adult to go with the high school person to knock on the door, so to speak. So, you know, I think that makes a lot of sense to do that. But one of the drivers for the town is the vast amount of space heating in the town of Bethel is oil. We have so much lead, we don't have that much natural gas. And oil is, you know, the more polluting, and obviously the stated objective of the public is, you know, the state and the federal government and everybody is to basically phase out the gas and the oil and you know, focus just on cleaner sources of energy. So this is part and parcel of that initiative also, to reduce the dependency in the town on oil, and which helps the environment and supplements the goal of the state and the federal government in terms of air emissions. So the project's got a lot of primary interest and benefits to the overall town and the effort to achieve the goals that we're after in terms of sustainability. And we've got an opportunities. And one of the things I had suggested is that one of our objectives in our major plan for the town of Bethel properties is the school park, to put a microgrid up there, which would be all electric, and primarily the heat pumps would be very, very effective in Reynolds Ridge, the elderly housing. There are 80 units there that are all electric heated, and a lot of them aren't air conditioned. And with this project, we could make that much more sustainable, and the possibility of probably some federal and state aid in terms of investments could also help reduce the cost of energy for the residents of Reynolds Ridge. So I think there's a lot that we can begin to look at and approach and plan, you know, to get it going. And it might be that Reynolds Ridge could be the public view of putting this all together. It could be the keystone and the primary focus from support and advertisement, and would get a lot of public, I think, interest in moving forward with doing something like that.
That sounds fantastic. And if I could make a couple comments, I think Bill and Amisha and Sunny saw a bit of a presentation a couple days ago, but for the other folks that weren't on that, just to tell you a little bit about PACE. We have one paid staff member. The rest of us are volunteers. This is not a money-making operation for us. In fact, I guess arguably, if we get, right now our funding has run out, but if we do get funding, some of it, we would offer a marketing grant to get this program going. So we're pretty agnostic. We try to vet contractors. We're not HVAC professionals, so we're not going to guarantee their work product, but we're going to examine them, and we would like somebody from this group to examine them with us to say, you already know Dandelion, you know what they stand for and how they operate, so they're probably already vetted. But the other two contractors, we want to get a sense of where their minds are at, what are their motivations. A lot of HVAC installers are actually connected to fossil fuel dealers. Some of them are very much on the decarbonization pathway and great partners. Others actually are very reluctant partners. Most of their money is made selling fuel oil or some other fossil fuel. So we try to investigate whether they would be a good partner for us in something like this, which is mostly education and outreach. So just to let the group know that this would be, we've completed in Branford, and I don't know, somebody here talked to Shirley McCarthy, either Sunny or you, Bill, but was it you, Sunny?
Both Bill and myself.
Yeah, so Branford was a fantastic first town, and I'm sure they told you they did a lot of work. I should let you know that we met every week on this program for a while. You have some things here. We certainly didn't have a group of young people who could go door to door. So you have assets in Bethel that we didn't have in Brantford, but it is a lot of work. It is let's see. I forwarded, I think to you, Sonny, there is a utility community engagement platform. Did anybody get that in your roles here? It's where Eversource would provide a little bit of money to somebody like Bethel to do some outreach. So there are funding sources aside. I'm hoping PACE will get funded and we'll be able to bring a marketing grant to this process. But even if we don't, Bill, I think with the right HES contractor, some money will come in that door. If we're able to participate in the community engagement platform, some money would come in that door. I don't know if you are on the sustainable CT. Are you a sustainable CT town?
I think that's what Matt is why committee, the commission or a committee is to be sustainable. But I know he's had some interest in that, but I don't know where we stand right at this moment.
If you are, what would I say? If you basically pass a town resolution that says we are joined, doesn't mean you have to have been certified. You become eligible for the matching grant program. So if you raise, I think up to $25,000 locally, they'll double it for you. So that's another source of funding. So
That'll be something to put in the presentation to the selectmen.
Yep. And if you want some good examples of that, you can just take a look at the Brantford's experience, or I can send you some stuff also.
Yeah, that would be helpful. I think I've seen the resolution for that in the past, but if you could send us something, would be great. Also, if you could recommend some energy partners that we can interview.
I don't know if I think tonight you have a limited agenda, but I do have a list of all of them, and we have their town on there, which how about I send it to Amisha and you guys can sort of go through first blush. There's two styles of HES, as you probably know. There's home energy solutions, and then there's home energy solutions income eligible. And I'm recommending that we try to go with somebody who can do both of those products. The reason being, if we want to reach out to low income people, and low income is not as low as you might think. So some people you wouldn't necessarily think of as low income are actually eligible for HES-IE. I think that broadens the base of residents that we can take care of, and that would be noted on this Excel sheet. And I've reached out to.
It's 8 o'clock.
What's that?
Sorry, that was my laptop saying it's 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay. It's that's good to know. Actually, it is 8 o'clock. I've reached out to one of the HES contractors. He's maxed out, but I asked for a recommendation over there. So we'll in your neck of the woods. I'm going to contact Devon Williamson, who's the Eversource person, and I guess Bill and Sonny, I'll put you on CC just to let you know. So any recommendations that they can give us. And I have reached out to the Green Bank for some air source heat pump contractor recommendations. They know who the active heat pump dealers are, and therefore we want somebody who knows what they're doing. It's like if you're going to have an operation, you want to go to somebody who's done it 1,000 times, and that's sort of how I feel about heat pump and HVAC installers. You want somebody who knows their way around. So I've got some things, some pots are boiling, but they just haven't boiled yet. So as soon as they do, I'll send that material to you.
Thanks, Bernie. And yeah, I guess to summarize, it's really great to have your help to help us vet the vendors and also kind of provide guidance and direction. while Dandelion was an initial contact we made, I mean, it's really helpful to have this be run under your umbrella so we can actually bring in more vendors. And so the residents really have a choice of what kind of technology that they want to go with, and they're aware of what the options are. So thank you very much. And I understand this is going to take time, but as Bill and I have been working with Matt, I think there's a great interest, and I think we'll inch forward. Maybe not pounds forward, but we'll inch forward definitely. So thanks again. Yeah.
Okay, Bernie, I've got a couple questions if you don't mind. Is it possible to put a heat loop in an artesian well?
I had this, anybody else can answer. I had this question. There was a gentleman in Middletown who said he had a well and then he got city water. Could he use that single well to, essentially tap the geothermal energy? I think the technical answer is yes, but when we talk to, we're using King Energy, which is a sort of as a competitor of Dandelion. They recommended against it because they said, from their standpoint, when they drill, they want to know what the casing is. They want to know the condition of the well. So it might have been a self-serving answer, but they basically recommended that you drill a well for this specific purpose.
Okay. And is it possible to use, say, a swimming pool as a thermal mass for a heat pump in the summer?
Again, I think it's technically possible, but I don't think that's done.
I'd seen some devices on the internet that let you do that, but I don't know if it was a DIY thing or not.
I'm going to guess that it's definitely technically possible, and I've seen similar things in ponds and lakes, and there's open loop and closed loop systems. But I think the diagram that Amisha showed in the beginning is the preferred thing. I think what Dandelion would do is give you a closed loop that's where the fluid, the heat transmitting fluid is essentially antifreeze or glycol. So it never freezes, it goes through the earth, picks up the heat and comes in. It's a closed loop. I'm mincing words with you. I think technically it's possible, but I don't think it's going to be a big thing to do in Bethel.
Do you have any other questions?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, well, no questions. What I move is that.
Bill, I've got one more. I got a question.
Okay.
In the presentation, it was referenced that it was not well suited to older homes. What would you classify as an older home? What's the date of construction there, approximately?
Did you have the research on that, on the older homes? You can find out.
Yeah, I will find out.
I think it would be great to look at that, Amisha, but I can embroider on that. It's not age per se, but it would be sort of how many air changes per hour that house has. So I can't tell by looking over your shoulder how old your house is, but houses built, I'll say, certainly built in the 1800s, they might have a stone foundation, they have an uninsulated sill plate, they leak like crazy. And so what you want is a house that's relatively efficient and tight. And that sort of takes us back to why we would like to ask people to be involved. And I would just say any house can be retrofit in such a way that it becomes tight. So you could take I don't know, a 1,000-year-old house in Italy somewhere, and if you retrofit it, so insulated it and sealed it, it could become a modern structure. So it's not age per se, but it's a good proxy. Most homes built before, I think my house is 1970, and I've had a lot of work done to bring it up to where I think it's, efficient.
Thank you. Makes sense.
Great. But questions like this are great.
Any other questions?
If you think of them after, please funnel them this way, because it's important that we know what's on people's minds.
Okay, well, if no more questions, I move that the committee approve the HeatSmart program by PACE and recommend to the town of Bethel, to the Board of Selectmen, that they authorize the program for the town. And if somebody has some better suited words for that, main thing is that we want to approve the program and Bethel's participation in the HeatSmart program. So,
Second.
okay, motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, so moved. So I appreciate it very much, and I thank you, and thank you very much, Bernie and Amisha, for participating here, and we look forward to getting going, and we'll get this to Matt as soon as possible, and he's waiting for it, and then we can begin to move forward on that. So with that, the next thing is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Any
Second.
Seconds, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Guys, run a tight meeting.